Hi, I'm Fleur McDonald and I'm here at Booktopia to talk about my life in books. So my favourite book as a child was Five on Treasure Island. I remember really clearly one day my dad came back from Adelaide. He travelled a lot when I was a kid and he brought me this Five on Treasure Island book, and I loved reading. In fact, I used to say I was very upset on the first day of school. I came home and said to my nana that I wasn't taught to read, and I was very upset about that. So I just delved with this book. I loved it, and that was what really got me started into mysteries and the adventurous type books. So the book that, the book that made me want to be a writer was A Jillaroo by Rachel Treasure. I was given that book for a Christmas present by my next door neighbours, and it was at a time that I had two really young children and my life was nothing but screaming and dirty nappies and sleepless nights. And I read this book and I just went, wow, there's obviously a huge hunger for this type of story, and I was in a really good place to be able to write that because I was on a farm and I knew all of the farming terminology. The one thing that book taught me was the really small things make books authentic, and I can still remember about Rachel writing about how she put the drench gun in and she could hear the drench gun click the sheep's teeth, and that made me realise how those little tiny things make a book, and I've always tried to carry that across into my books. The book I wish I'd written was The Dry by Jane Harper. I just was totally immersed in those pages, and I could see everything happening in my head like a mini movie, and I think that that's a sign of a really amazing book. So the book that I give as a gift most often is The Poet by Michael Connelly. It also happens to be my favourite Michael Connelly book of all times. The twists and turns that go on in that book are incredible, and I love it when you get to the end of a book and you look at the last chapter and you go, how the hell did we get here? And that is how I felt when I read that book. It was incredible. So that's the one I love giving to people because I hope they had the same reaction as what I did.